Welcome to Cheater Fallout. Let us get started with today's story. I used to think our life was simple. Deborah and I had been married 5 years. We lived in a clean apartment near the water in Seattle. I worked in supply management for a medical company. She worked in marketing for a tech startup. We had a shared bank account, a quiet routine, and a marriage that looked stable from the outside. Lately, something felt wrong. Deborah stayed out later. She kept her phone face down. Small questions from me turned into sharp answers from her. "You are overthinking," she said more than once. "Just busy season," she added another time. I was away in Portland for 2 nights, on a routine business trip. The first evening was normal. I had dinner alone and answered emails. The second night at 11:47 in the evening, my phone buzzed while I was sitting on the edge of the hotel bed. It was Deborah. "I am sleeping at my Leonard's house tonight. You need to prove you are not that kind of man." I stared at the screen. Another message came right after. "I have had a few drinks. I am not dealing with jealousy or questions. This is about trust." There was no apology. No explanation beyond that. Leonard, her ex, a name I had not thought about in years until he showed up again in her office, now a coworker. Most people might have called. I did not. I did not argue. I did not beg. I did not curse. Something settled in my chest. I typed back one sentence. "Do what you think is right." I set the phone down. The room felt different after that. Still heavy. Not with anger, but with understanding. This was not confusion. This was choice. A new message came through seconds later. "Thank you for being mature about this." That word, mature, sat wrong. It felt like a weapon wrapped in a compliment. Then I opened social media and searched for a name I had only met once. Emily, Leonard's girlfriend. If Deborah was testing me, then I was about to test the truth, and I was going to stay very calm while I did it. Leonard had always presented himself as harmless. Years earlier, Deborah said their split happened because goals did not match. I accepted that explanation without digging deeper. After they reconnected as coworkers, she called him easy to work with and nothing to worry about. I never challenged that claim. I simply noted how often his name came up. Emily's profile was not locked or hidden. She had added her number in case anyone needed anything. The contact was still there. I did not rush. I sat, measured a slow breath, then another. I pictured Deborah, somewhere she did not belong, acting as if boldness could be mistaken for honesty. I pressed call. It rang 4 times. "Hello?" Her voice carried mild caution, not sleep. "Emily?" I asked. "Yes." "Who is calling?" "My name is Alvin Harper, Deborah's husband. I am sorry for the late call. I will be direct." She texted me and said she is staying at Leonard's place tonight. Silence stretched across the line. I could almost hear the air change around her. "She said that?" Emily asked. "Yes. I wanted to confirm that you were aware." A careful breath. "I am away from home right now. I did not know Leonard was doing this behind my back. She is there right now." Another pause. Longer this time. "No," she said slowly. "That was not discussed with me. I thought you should know. You were right to call," she replied, and her voice shifted from surprise to control. "Stay with me for a moment." In the background, I heard quiet movement. A door. Then her words came back steady and sharp. "I am calling Leonard. I am adding you to the line." The phone beeped once, then it began to ring again. The line clicked as another call joined. I stayed silent, breathing slow and even. Leonard answered on the 3rd ring. His voice sounded relaxed. "Hey, Emily, where are you right now?" she asked. "Home," he said. "Just got in." "Why? Everything okay?" "That is interesting," she replied. "Because Alvin Harper is on this call with me and his wife told him she is staying at your place tonight." A pause. A long one. "What? No, that is not right," Leonard muttered. "I have not seen Deborah in weeks." I spoke then, calm enough to surprise even myself. "Leonard. She texted me at 11:47 in the evening. She said she is sleeping at your house, and that I need to prove I am not that kind of man." Those were her exact words. The background noise on his end changed. I heard a door close. She stopped by for a minute. He said softer now. "She just needed water." "That is it." "You said you were alone," Emily replied. She is not staying. She is just resting. Put her on the phone, Emily said. A faint voice came through at a distance, then closer. Why is Alvin on the call? Deborah snapped. This is insane. You were in my home, Emily stated. You never asked. You never warned me. Deborah scoffed. I did not think I needed permission to exist in a space. You needed honesty, Emily said. Something neither of you provided. This is nothing, Deborah replied. He is overreacting. You are being dramatic. I am being informed, Emily answered. Pack your things, Leonard. Leave before I return. Wait, Emily. The call ended abruptly. Silence returned. The room felt still again. My phone vibrated. A message appeared from Deborah. You actually called her. You just humiliated me for no reason. I stared at the words, then set the phone down without replying. For the first time that night, I lay back on the bed. I was not angry. I was not shocked. I was simply done. By morning, multiple notifications filled my screen. Apologies, excuses, voice recordings layered with shaking breath. I ignored every attempt. After the final meeting, I requested an earlier flight and landed in Seattle before sunset. At the apartment, Deborah stood near the kitchen, eyes red, hands tense. You made this worse than it needed to be, she said. You made a decision without respect, I replied. It was alcohol, nothing more, she insisted. Late change of location does not equal innocence. You always wanted control, she snapped. I wanted clarity. Her jaw tightened. She stepped closer. You called another woman instead of trusting your own wife. You forced that call, I answered. You named another man, not me. Tears appeared. Then anger wiped them away. You loved drama long before tonight, she complained. I loved honesty before this. Silence returned. I tested you, she admitted. I passed by walking away. I collected necessary items and placed them inside a small bag. She followed every move. You are throwing away everything over one situation, she whispered. You threw away trust long before last night. This can be fixed, she said. Some things cannot regain shape once broken. I walked out without slamming the door. Behind me, her voice rose again, cracking into panic. Yet, no word stopped motion. I did not look back. Instead, I sent one short message to her phone. Space begins now. Respect it. 3 days passed without contact. No calls, no apologies, no explanations. Silence felt steady, not empty. On the fourth afternoon, an unfamiliar number appeared on my phone. I considered letting it pass, then answered. Alvin. It is Emily, she said. No greeting fillers, just truth. I assumed you might call. I found something you need to see. What kind of something? I will send images. You decide the meaning. Seconds later, my phone filled with screenshots. Conversations between Leonard and Deborah. Weeks stamped in small gray numbers. Flirting plans. Code words. Places hidden behind vague names. One message made my jaw tighten. He trusts me. He always does. Another. I feel alive when I am with you. These were not recent. They stretched backward through months, through anniversaries, through holidays, spent smiling beside me. Thank you for showing me, I said finally. I am sorry it exists, she replied. But you deserve truth. He will say anything at this point, I added. He already did, she said. And it was never enough. We hung up without further words. Later that evening, Deborah asked for a meeting. Her tone attempted softness. I agreed on my terms. She arrived to the apartment with a tired look and a practiced apology. I was afraid of losing you, she claimed. You disappeared long before fear arrived. It meant nothing, she pleaded. Then why document every moment? Silence replaced excuses. I placed the phone on the table and slid it toward her. She saw the proof. Her shoulders fell. That was private, she whispered. Not when shared, I replied. She cried. Reached for my hand, promised change. I withdrew calm. I am filing for divorce, I said. Not out of hate, out of clarity. Her hands dropped to her sides. No argument remained. A quiet ending to a loud deception. Documentation moved faster than emotions. Attorneys handled papers. Dates were marked. Signatures arrived. No children. No shared house beyond the lease. Only bank records and a wedding that no longer mattered. Deborah tried to delay it first, then rushed the process when reality settled. The court finalized everything in just under 3 months. Consequences followed her. Leonard ended contact the moment exposure reached his office. He blamed her for everything, claiming she dragged him into chaos. That message reached me through a mutual acquaintance. I felt nothing. Her workplace grew quiet around her. Conversations stopped when she entered. Invitations vanished. Promotions she expected disappeared. Management shifted her to remote tasks, away from team projects. She accepted a smaller paycheck without a word. Friends stepped away. Some called her, most did not. She posted vague quotes online about healing and finding peace. The tone felt empty, even through a screen. She left the apartment and moved into a small studio across the city. Boxes replaced furniture. Pictures vanished. Silence filled the space where life had once been shared. She sent one final message during the final week. "This is not how I imagined life." I read it once. I did not respond. I kept my routine steady. Work, gym, sleep, breath. My friend Frank stayed close but never pushed conversation. One evening he said, "You are calmer than I expected." "I am clearer than I expected," I replied. The divorce date arrived on a Wednesday morning. I stood in front of a desk while an official voice stated facts without emotion. When asked if I agreed, I answered with one word: yes. A clean cut, no scenes, no regret. Walking out, I felt lighter than I had in a year. Not because a marriage ended, but because a lie no longer lived in it. Outside, the air felt sharp, honest, new. The test was never about trust, it was about exit. Then I drove away, understanding something simple for the first time in months. Freedom did not come from anger, it came from finality. The first time I saw Emily in person, there was no plan behind it. I walked into a cafe near the waterfront, ordered black coffee, and turned toward an empty chair. She stood there holding a cup, eyes lifting in recognition. "Well," she said. "Small city or bad timing," I replied. "Or good," she added, then gestured to the seat. "Do you mind?" I shook my head. Conversation started slowly. Practical things first. How the divorce process felt. How Leonard reacted when confronted. How quiet a shared space becomes after truth enters it. "You holding up?" she asked. "I am breathing. That counts as progress." She nodded once. No pity in her face, only understanding. We spoke about work, about routine, about what it feels like to rebuild normal after a sudden collapse. Laughter slipped in without warning. It surprised both of us, the kind that rises from clarity, not romance. "I do not want confusion between us," she said at one point. "Neither do I." "Then let us be honest," she continued. "Right now, we are just two people who survived the same mess." "Agreed," I said. After that day, meetings became casual, but intentional. No labels, no intensity. Walks through open markets, short talks beside the water. Quiet rides in separate cars leaving separate directions. There was no pressure, only respect and awareness. One evening, as sunset cut across the horizon, we sat on a bench. She crossed her arms looking out. "Do you ever miss the person you thought she was?" she asked. "I miss the version I believed in," I answered. "And now? Now, I prefer reality." She turned, studying my expression for any hint of anger. Finding none, she smiled slightly. "Good," she said. "That is healthy." That word used to irritate me. That night, it felt accurate. As we stood to leave, her hand brushed mine. Not accidental, not forced. Just contact. We both noticed it. Neither of us pulled away. It happened on a quiet Sunday evening. Emily and I were in my kitchen, not rushing anything, just moving with the slow rhythm of people who had learned patience. My phone lit up on the counter. Deborah Harper. Emily glanced at it, then back at me. I did not reach for it right away. I let it sit like a thought I no longer needed to entertain. Finally, I picked it up and read the message. "Heard you were seeing Emily now. That is low, Alvin. The two leftovers from a mess we created. I always thought you were better than that. No apology, no accountability. Just one last attempt to bruise." I handed the phone to Emily without a word. She read it, then gave a short, quiet laugh. Not cruel, not bitter, just clear. "Do you want to answer?" she asked. "Yes," I said. I typed one message carefully, calmly. "You tested me. I proved who I am. Now I am done proving anything to you." I pressed send, then blocked the number. No speech, no extra thoughts, just a clean end. Emily set the phone face down. "Good," she said. "That chapter can stay closed." We went back to the kitchen. Dinner finished cooking. Normal conversation returned. Simple and real. No lies underneath it. No tension hanging above it. Later, sitting on the couch, I thought about that night in the hotel. The moment I read that text, the stillness that followed. The controlled decision to move forward, not backward. She tried to turn trust into a weapon. She tried to hold power through confusion. Instead, she gave me clarity. The phone that once delivered betrayal now rested silent beside me. No longer a source of chaos. Only a tool. The real change was not in who I was with. It was in who I had chosen to become. Emily leaned her head against my shoulder. "You okay?" she asked. "I am," I replied. And I meant it. Not because everything hurt less, but because everything finally made sense. Thank you for watching until the very end. Wishing you happiness, peace, and a wonderful day ahead.